Questions? Again, you can ask your questions and make your comments in one of two ways, either on the paper or with your hand. Is Katrina in the room? Okay.
Hello. Yo gostaria que Rita e a senhora Pittman, Teresa Pittman, mencionasse para nós outros se há alguma situação em seus países, em seus telecentros, similar a uma que temos em los telecentros em Brasil. Eu penso que algumas vezes o próprio operador de telecentro cria situações de dificuldade para utilizar, de manejar melhor as diferentes soluções que estão disponíveis para eles, seja em relação ao uso de las novas TICs, ou seja em uso a programas de gerenciamento, soluções para melhorar sua sustentabilidade. Por exemplo, nós outros desenvolvemos uma ferramenta para a gestão de los custos de telecentros, para todos os telecentros em Brasil. É um programa muito sencillo, utilizando o Microsoft Excel, já tendo os indicadores de desempenho dos telecentros, os custos. Mencionamos em um livro, pequena cartilha, mencionando a metodologia para obter estes indicadores. Quanto custa um curso de 4 horas para oferecer, o telecentro oferecer a seus usuários? Tivemos muitos problemas, muita dificuldade para que alguns telecentros validassem a metodologia e passassem a utilizar esta metodologia de gestão de custos, por exemplo, para o telecentro. Isto ocorreu em seus países, em seus telecentros, há esta resistência. Se las há, como vocês han hecho para solucioná-las? Gracias.
Who wants to go first?
I'm not sure I've got the question. How we manage, I think you're asking about how we manage new solutions, whether telecenter operators create difficulties. Not normally.
I think it's not I don't think there's an easy answer. I think it's a challenge that I face as a telecenter manager. It's a challenge I face currently in my, job with students. I think it very much varies. My experience has been that telecenters are very organic, very diverse. They have cycles, and you're very reliant on volunteers, staff. Some are trained, some are not. There's a turnover in staff. They get skills, they move on to different places. So trying to put a performance indicator system in place where you manage and track, we tried to do something similar, not so much for cost, but in terms of usage and impact, and we had some discussions, how is the value of the telecenters. It's very difficult to do. There might be some other people that might have some solutions. We just kept trying, and we just learned to accept that what we had was good. It was never going to be perfect. And I think if you adjust to that, that's sort of how we managed it. Does that answer your question somewhat? Okay.
Thank you. We now have a question from one of the cards to Teresa and Rita. Do you think with the arrival of mobile phones, telecentres will be redundant?
I have a quick answer, and it's no.
No. No, they will not be redundant.
I can add just a little, because I think mobile phones, and this was one thing I said in my presentation, let the change that you want, you need to adjust the technology to suit your needs. Mobile phones, I don't think telecentres at the true mission is to just put technology in people's hands. It's to impact economic change, social change. I think that's where we're all in it for in our heart, helping empower people in our rural communities, improve their lives and their livelihoods. A mobile phone is not going to do that. You need content, you need people, very much so you need people, you need skills, and you need knowledge. And the mobile phone to me is just another mechanism, the same as a laptop or a tablet or the fax machine that you saw in the picture that I used earlier that we used back in the 80s to get information transferred. So. When mobile phones come, you also step up, see what else to do. But mobile phones need content, like she says. You can now reach a wider community, say, of farmers with market information. So you step up. They will not get out of business.
So do we have a live question? A hand? Here.
Hello, Javier from CDI. Teresa, I wanted to ask if you could just give us a little information regarding promotion and all the cost of initiating this online training, because those are, I think, the two most difficult parts of it. You can build a lot of content, but if you have no students.
It can get expensive. We didn't start with a lot of money. So we're a community college, public community college. Our tuition fees are very low, and our tuition fees haven't changed. Our government has a freeze-on in 7 years. So everything we do is on a very economical level. We started small, and what we did was we did receive seed funding to do a pilot, because back in '98, we had to prove that we could do it. So we had funding for 3 years to offer some courses, develop some courses. We started very small, and we just grew and grew and built from there. How do you promote it? Just a lot of different ways. We try to do presentations. We send staff to the communities. One thing that worked for us was forming partnerships. If you can partner with an economic development entity or something in a small community, make friends with them, get them to promote it to their clients, employment drop-in centres, you really need to build a network, a personal network, and a network on a level at the communities to get to the people that you really want to reach. So it's not as simple as just putting out a flyer. Unfortunately, and you can put stuff on the internet, but those people are probably not, accessing, reading the internet. So there's a lot of legwork, a lot of kilometers traveling, and just a lot of work. But it's always worth it.
I'm going to switch to another kind of written question. We originally were supposed to have an hour for this session. I'm going to ask that we don't take a full hour because we borrowed some time for the wonderful Telecentre Women Digital Literacy campaign. So I'm going to say we have 5 more minutes, and then we'll go to the next session. Is that okay?
I think it's long, is it?
I don't think so. How do you measure your telecentre's success? Comment. The future is running to us very fast. Telecentre needs to be up to this speed. So how do you measure success? Rita.
Of course, at the start of any project or for any program, we need to put in some targets. And if it's finance, for instance, the financial sustainability, we need to look at what is going in and what is coming out. But we simply have some targets that we set out in the beginning that help us, that indicate whether we are doing well, whether we are not doing well. But also, we normally conduct focus group discussions, participatory rural appraisals, where we get the community to give us feedback on the programs and how they see them, and that's also a way we measure success.
I think success varies obviously from telecenter to telecenter. It's important that you consider what your telecenter's objectives are. And be really careful when you're setting your goals, because I think, as we all know, it's not really simple or easy work to effect change in rural areas and in urban areas also, but particularly social change. So if you have a town of 100,000 people, and I think someone else used this example in another session, and your goal is, in 2 years to get 50% of them online, and in 2 years you only have 25%. Now, did you succeed or did you fail? If you had set your target for 10%, you would have been a real good success. So I guess just a little advice from 20 years, make sure you can reach your benchmarks and set your goals so that you're also meeting what you want and what your telecenter needs to do, but you're also meeting your funders and other organizations. So you need to measure it, but you really need to be careful what you're measuring and the reason that you're there for and what you're all about.
And to be realistic in what you try to accomplish. I remember many years ago in the town where Teresa was working, we thought a measure of success was when the local hotel put a data line on its phones, because no hotel in the province had done that. That meant that people were, because of the telecenter, were coming to the hotel and then demanding the use of dial-up lines to the internet. So that was a kind of a sign that something was changing. But it's not the kind of thing that would show up in your strategic plan. There's a live question in the back.
La verdad que yo, más que una pregunta, quiero hacer un comentario. Me llamó la atención, bajo mi perspectiva de discapacitado, que fue transversal en muchos los exponentes el tema de la discapacidad, y creo que tanto la discapacidad como otros entes especiales nos va a permitir, ¿no es cierto?, una democratización de nuestros pensamientos a través de los telecentros. Es así como también felicito la cantidad de damas presentes, que ellas con su presencia creemos que está asegurado el éxito de los telecentros, porque fuera que son responsables, adornan todo lo que ellos hacen con su belleza y simpatía. Y si a eso le unimos el conocimiento, así que hermanos del mundo, muchas gracias por esta oportunidad, CDI, por habernos permitido estar presentes. Somos 11 organizaciones pequeñas de Chile que estamos presentes hoy día, y gracias por esta oportunidad que enormemente nos enriquece. Un saludo afectuoso para todos y cada uno de ustedes. Gracias.
If I could just give you one little anecdote. And again, one of our telecentres in a small community of 400 people, there was a woman named Sheena Dumaresk who was visually impaired. She found it hard to read the computer screen. We were able to arrange to get software that would increase the fonts of everything that came through the processor onto the monitor. Her and her husband, because of their ability to be able to see the screen and be able to use digital tools learned through the telecenter, set up a signage company that essentially overtook the whole market in creating signs and digital signs for small businesses. So you're absolutely right. Telecenters are important places for people with challenges in terms of their skills to be able to overcome that with technology. Let's say there'll be one more card question and one more live question. This is a long one. I've heard such skepticism from donors already of today's telecenters, and I seek thoughts and arguments. Telecenters are training 3 groups in many emerging market nations: elderly, village farm dwellers, and poor unemployed seeking retraining. 10 years ago, youth dominated many of these spaces, but today they do not visit because schools are doing the job and computer and internet are more accessible economically. As the elderly groups pass and youth move to middle age in combination with mobile internet, and by what year does the telecenter model become irrelevant? In 20 years or never? So the question essentially is, things change, different groups move through the telecenter, costs come down, Rita, as you had indicated. So does a telecenter become irrelevant in 20 years or never, or when?
Ask me back in 20 more years and I'll tell you the answer. I don't know. I mean, when I was a telecenter manager and with the other telecenter managers, we always said to ourselves jokingly, you know, if we are really good at our jobs, we'll work ourselves out of a job. In 10 years, we didn't really get there, because there's always a need. And right now, in where I come from, even though it's Canada, a developed country, there's still a big need. So I think it's a long process. I think things will change and evolve, but I still think there will always be a need.
Teresa, I think it can be said that you did work yourself out of a job and into a much better paying one.
Oh, there you go.
Telecentres will still remain relevant. When I look at our situation with schools and the children, these private schools are struggling to put up classrooms, infrastructure, and books is the last thing on their priority list. So having a telecenter in the community that is able to lend them books is helping out, and I don't see us going out of business. But also recently, I have a friend from a rich friend who stays in the city, in a community, who actually approached me and said, how can we set up a library in our community, right in the middle of Kampala? I said, what? Yes, our children have nowhere to read from, the flats are busy, there is noise. So we are setting up another reading center in the city, so there is no way they are going to go out of business.
One last live question. Going once, going twice. Okay. Vignesh.
I'm just going to take up from what Rita a few minutes back, what she said. Now with the migration, people are moving from rural areas to the urban areas. And we have already set up an urban telecenter in Delhi. And the challenges are completely different. Do you think will urban telecenters would come up, and will it be relevant for the community?
I didn't get your question.
Could you repeat it, Vignesh?
The last piece.
This is about urban telecenters, because people are migrating to cities without any skills. Those people who were in rural areas are coming to urban areas looking for jobs, and they don't have the capacity and skills to meet up that urban job market. So would you think the telecenters in urban areas could play a major role in building the capacity and providing right information and knowledge to them?
Yassine,
Yes, just to say that me and my Colombian colleague here were agreeing that telecenters should disappear. And what we should have is community development centers where we deal with health, education, governance, jobs, business, and where ICT is no more, like the big thing on top, but just transversal to everything community development, and where all the stakeholders of the community village development people do, exchange and work together. And ICT is not visible as like the main thing. So let's have the telecenters disappear.
With that informed and wise commentary, we'll close the session. We'll thank Rita and Teresa for their fine contributions and wish them all the best as they continue to change the world. Thank you.